Hi students. In this session, we are going to discuss about abstraction and encapsulation in object-oriented design and programming. Let's start. Abstraction and encapsulation. In one line, abstraction is displaying the essential component and hiding the implementation details. That is what abstraction. Only the necessary details. While coming to encapsulation, encapsulation means encapsulating data and function together, a wrapping up of data and function together. So that is what the one line statement of abstraction and encapsulation. So let's see what is there in the abstraction. So the point, hiding the implementation and showcasing only necessary essential details to the user. In another way, abstraction is going to be another exposing only the required the characteristics and the behavior with respect to the context. Abstraction are also defined as the process of identifying only required characteristics of an object, ignoring the background or irrelevant or implementation details. Right. So hiding of data is known as data abstraction. So in class declaration, we declare a data as a private, right? So that is what hiding the data, or in data abstraction that can be called as information hiding. In object-oriented programming, this is implemented automatically while the writing the code in the form of class and object. So we are writing the code and function and uh, variable, right? So that is what called as abstract and hiding the implementation details because it is not known to the user. That is what abstraction. Let's see real world example of abstraction. Let's take in this example a man driving a car. A man driving a car need not necessary to know about the functioning of the engine mechanism of the gear shift and the working of the fuel injection, the basic things like driving a car for putting the gear lever and steering wheel, how to operate steering wheel and how to accelerate the acceleration, pedaling the acceleration, brake and the clutch, etc. So the basic details only enough to drive a car. It is not necessary to know everything what is happening inside the or what are the mechanism happening inside the car. That is what and a good example of abstraction. And another way I can say another real-world example, ATM kiosk. In ATM kiosk, if you insert a card, if you know the basic operations, how to display, withdraw an amount, deposit amount, or any other transaction, but the background details like how the banks are communicating, how the communication is happening from one bank to another bank, how it is authenticating, how the money is dispatched, and all those implementation details are not necessary to the user. So only the basic details like how to operate the menu, select the menu, and use the ATM. That is enough. That is what another example of abstraction. Let's see another example. Yeah, if you give a task for shape draw a shape, so the drawing a shape is going to be somebody will draw a circle, somebody will draw a square, somebody will draw a triangle, somebody will draw just a line. So the shape is a general way. It is going to be inherited in implemented in different way. So the implementation is circle draw, square draw, and triangle draw, line draw, etc. uh, but the common thing is generic name is given as a drawing a shape. So this is what called as another example of abstraction. One is driving a car, and second one is ATM usage, and the third one is draw a shape. So that is what the abstraction. Let's see an example at the end of the slide. Next topic is encapsulation. Encapsulation means beginningly I said right, a wrapping up of data and methods together. You can see in the right bottom, we're having a capsule which is having a uh, the chemical compositions or medicines are enclosed together in a single capsule, right? So we call that as a in a programming point of view, we call that as a variables and methods together. We call that as going to be class. So we in other way I can say the state and behavior of a single container is known as encapsulation. The variables of data of the class written from the any other class. So automatically it is encapsulated. The encapsulated is achieved by declaring those variables as a private. So already I said right in abstraction. So if you make the declare that variable as a private date variable, private access mode, and it is encapsulated within the class. Only the methods, public methods of members of the class can only able to access it. That is what encapsulation. Let's see this example, a combined example for abstraction and encapsulation. First, let's see encapsulation. So, encapsulation means binding or wrapping up the data and function together. So, here I'm having M1, M2, two data and the two functions get and display. All these data and functions are declared in a public mode, and all these data and functions are wrapped up into the class called student. So, encapsulation is achieved here. And outside the class I'm creating the object for the student class and accessing the get and display method. So here the point is encapsulating the data and data and the function together by the class. So that is what encapsulation. In the same example I can say it is also achieving the abstraction. How means uh, the get and display functions are implemented, the implementation details are not known to the object. Since S is the member of the student class, instantiation of the student class, it just access the get and display method. S doesn't know anything about the implementation details of display and get method. So that is abstraction also achieved. So I slightly modified the code for abstraction. So here the same code, instead of declaring all the data and function together as a public, I declared M1, M2 data as a private and get and display functions in a public access mode. So here I'm hiding the M1, M2 from the outside the class, which means M1, M2 is not allowed to access outside the class. So abstraction is achieved. And same way encapsulation also achieved. Encapsulating, making this M1, M2 as a private, which is binded together within the student class, and as well as the get and display are the public members of the class. They're having access to or having a permission to access the M1, M2. So because get and display are the members of the same class students, so they can access. But outside the class, if you try to access M1, M2 with the object, definitely it shows an error because it is a private member. It is not allowed to access outside the class. So since property is private, so here abstraction is achieved. And in the next example, I slightly modified the code. Instead of getting the value from the initializing the value in the main method, I'm getting the value by using the get method. M1, M2 are declared as a private, and those values are read from the terminal by the get function and displayed by using the display function. So here the point is abstraction is achieved, and the M1, M2 is accessed within the class by the other member. Sorry, within the class by the other member called get and display, which here it is private members are used within the class, not outside the class. So abstraction and encapsulation is achieved, and get and display are the public members. It is allowed to access outside the class. So here the point is if you bind together in a student class, it's called as encapsulation. You are hiding the private member, hiding the member from the outside of the class. It's going to be called as abstraction. So here it is a data abstraction. M1, M2 are hidden to the public user or other user outside the class, so that here we are achieving the abstraction. The same program slightly modified. And some advantages of the encapsulation. So by using the encapsulation, data is going to be secure outside the class, even though if it is a private data are not allowed to access, so that we can secure it. Data hiding, yeah, we make it as a private, definitely it is going to be hidden to the user. And it is increased flexibility, so we can make variables of the class to as a read only or write only depending upon the need. And coming next is reusability. Encapsulation also improves the reusability and easy to change with the new requirements. So whenever there is a need, we can change it. And testing the code is easy. Encapsulated code is very easy to test for unit testing. So that is what about the encapsulation and abstraction and encapsulation. Thank you.